This video is on interjections. These are words or phrases that show strong emotion, and they are usually followed by an exclamation mark. Just to give you a look at what an exclamation mark looks like, it's like a long line with a dot at the bottom. So here's an example with something that you could say that actually has two interjections in it. And you can tell that they're interjections because they are blue and they are underlined. Impressive. This is the best turnout that we have ever had for a holiday party. It's amazing. So you can see that these interjections here in this example, we've got one that's a single word, and we've got one that is more than one word, so we've got a short phrase. I'm going to show you more examples coming up soon that are even shorter than this, just to give you a good idea of all the different kinds of interjections that you could have. Something else to remember is that you would also use an interjection to give a strong order. An order would be if you're trying to get somebody to do something, and so you're sort of, I guess you could say, you're ordering them around. So here's the example. Be quiet. A student is writing a test. So you can see that you're asking somebody to be quiet, and you're using strong emotion to do that. You're being assertive. So here are some more examples of interjections. And you'll see that some are shorter, right? And some are longer, and sometimes you have a short phrase. But no matter what, we've got an emotion being expressed, and we've got that exclamation mark at the end of that interjection. Let's go through these examples. Shh, the children are sleeping. Oops, I dropped my phone. He biked all the way across Canada. Incredible. So I wanted to share a couple of these first three. You see, you can have the interjection at the beginning, right? Oops, I dropped my phone. Or he biked all the way across Canada. Incredible. I mean, we could have put incredible before we said he biked all the way across Canada, or we could have put it after, just like we have in this example. Both would work. Here's another example of having the interjection after we say what we say. We are going on vacation in a few days. Yay! And again, you could say it the other way around. You could say, yay! We are going on vacation in a few days. And here's an example with more than one interjection, right? So we have an interjection, and then we say something, and then we have an interjection after that. Uh-oh, the car won't start and I will be late. R. Okay, so usually you'd use R if it was sort of funny, but this isn't really funny. I mean, if your car won't start, that's not really funny, but it's meant to make you laugh if someone says R, right? I mean, really, if your car won't start, then I guess you don't have to go to work that day. That might not be such a bad thing. But anyway, you can see how we have uh-oh and we have R. And you might be wondering, well, how come I have an exclamation mark after late, right? I say, the car won't start and I will be late. And you might say, well, isn't that an interjection because there's an exclamation mark at the end? Well, remember, an interjection is going to be a single word or a short phrase. It's a quick expression of emotion. What we have here, the car won't start and I will be late, that's a sentence, and that whole sentence, that whole statement, you're attaching emotion to it. So when you use an exclamation mark, that exclamation mark means that you're being emotional in some way. Maybe you're worried, maybe you're excited, maybe you're angry, maybe you're upset. You have a reason to be. Usually when we see an exclamation mark, we're thinking of speaking really loudly or even shouting. All right, so you definitely don't want to use exclamation marks all the time. It's just when you're expressing emotion. And again, if we're talking about interjections, we're talking about short single words, short phrases, short expressions, quick expressions of emotion. All right. So a longer sentence like the car won't start and I will be late. That's not an interjection because it's a whole sentence. Okay. And here's another example where, we have an interjection and then we have a longer sentence. What a day, right? So what a day, that is our interjection, right? What a day. After 12 straight hours of work, we are done. All right, something else I just thought I would mention, just in case anyone might not know this, interjections can also express confusion and weaker emotions. So in all of these examples that I've already shown you, it's always expressing some kind of strong emotion where we need an exclamation mark. But the other part of interjections is that they're short expressions, right? And that emotion doesn't necessarily have to be negative or excited or concerned or angry or worried. We don't necessarily have to have an exclamation mark at the end of it. Sometimes we could have short expressions of emotion that are weaker, or maybe we're confused about something, and those would be interjections too. Let's look at some examples of what I'm talking about. First one, I should pronounce it differently here. Oh, we aren't planning to move. Oh, we aren't planning to move. That's even better. Oh, we aren't planning to move. So someone might have asked you, oh, aren't you moving? And you'd say, oh, we aren't planning to move, right? So that word oh, that's the interjection, right? I mean, if I used oh differently, I'd say, oh, where did you go, right? Oh, maybe I'd be surprised. So sometimes you can use an interjection a little bit differently, but here we've got, oh, we aren't planning to move. So you're not excited, you're just explaining it, but you're starting off with that interjection, oh. You notice we've got a comma after it, right? Next example. Thank you for explaining that so I can understand. So, you're relieved, right? So you're not upset or anything. And again, we have a comma after that. Now sometimes, instead of a comma, we have a period at the end. And it's kind of hard to explain why. If you happen to use this interjection, if you happen to say, just put a period at the end of it. I guess maybe the way that I could explain it is when we're using oh and oh, we aren't planning to move. Thank you for explaining so that I can understand. It's part of what we're trying to say, part of what we're trying to explain. But when we use it's sort of like, there we are, we're thinking, and then we say what we're thinking. Right? So it's two separate things, right? I wonder what happened. So that that's our interjection. Next example. What? How did that happen? So you're confused and you say, what? How did that happen? So what? That's the interjection. And here's a pretty common interjection that if we're talking stereotypical Canadians here, we would use a. Here's an example. This is quite stereotypical, but we could say, "This is good coffee, eh?" Right. So that's another time where we'd use an interjection, and it would be a question. You're asking someone if they agree with you that the coffee is good. This is good coffee, eh? Alright, I hope that all of my examples of interjections have been helpful, and I look forward to my next video.